What's up, gamers? Welcome back to Gaming on the Block, episode 3. We're excited about this one, and let me just put up a scenario here. Hypothetically speaking, obviously, you're in a meeting right now, and you're listening on your phone to the episode, and you've only got time for like 5 minutes or so, and you just want the best bits from the episode. Well, then we've got the perfect solution for you guys. We've just launched the Gaming on the Block Clips channel where we put all the highlights from our episodes out in the best possible way for you to watch them. So if you only want 5-minute clips, 7-minute clips, 3-minute clips, something along those lines with the very best highlights, then we put those together on the Gaming on the Block Clips channel, which is, of course, linked down below in the description for each of our episodes. And that's where you find all the goodies. But if you have more time, which I'm sure you do because you're devoted to Gaming on the Block, then watch through the whole episode. I've got, of course, my co-host TSG with me, and he knows. Let's start with TSG. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, man. Good. Been a super busy week, but I'm excited for the topics that you guys have kind of compiled. I'll be honest, I didn't put too much time into it this week, so I'm glad that I have you guys to carry the weight and pull through. So really good topics. I'm really excited. Annie, what's going on with you, man? How's everything on your end?
Yeah, it's been a great week too. Really busy. I've had several different notable interviews that I'm excited to be dropping over the next week. So some of these amazing Web3 gaming founders, and man, there's so much going on in the space. Can't wait to get to our topics for today.
Yeah.
How about you, Will?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been busy. It's been exciting. I'm freaking creating content with you guys again. I'm stoked about it. But let's get into it, Annie, because I know you've got some good stuff. TSG, you said you hadn't been too much involved. Well, that's the case with me too. Like, it's Annie who knows. Annie knows has been rocking it this week, helping us out. So let's bring up some content, Annie. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so today I'm really excited to talk with you guys about the structures of Web3 games. And TSG, maybe if you want to pull up the framework that we started. I shared a video on this about a month ago, and it's gotten some really good traction from a lot of content creators. The founders that I've talked to, I think, really like the framework. And, I want to share in a little more detail with our audience, what is this? What does it actually mean? So I think everyone in this space is familiar with the whole concept of play to earn, because this is where everything started. And we saw this with Axie and a bunch of the other games in the 2021 bull run market, where the whole concept was, as long as you come into here, you spend time playing video games, you're just going to earn enough money that you can quit your day job. And we know that that's an appealing, marketing perspective, because about 30% of gamers indicate that if they had the option to quit their day job and just become full-time professional gamers, they would take it. So there's a market there, and that's about 1 billion people across the planet that have indicated they'd be willing to do that. So there's certainly no shortage of people that that type of a sales pitch appeals to. But the question is that really a sustainable approach, right? So we're going to get into this a little bit today. What is play to earn? Is that a sustainable concept? But for the rest of the dialogue, the big push that I've seen over the past 6 months in Web3 gaming is just make the game fun, and people are going to come, and it's going to be a sustainable model. Well, I'm not sure that that's entirely the case. And so, let's talk about the difference between investing and owning, because there's, I think, a key point here to be made. When we hear play to earn, as a community, the first thing that we have thought of when you can get virtual asset ownership in a game, so you own your own swords or guns or characters or whatever, the initial impression by the game developers that launched in the first wave was, if you own something, therefore you should be able to make money from it. And there's a real big difference between just owning something and having it to use for yourself. And because you own something, then it becomes valuable enough that you should be able to earn money from it. So I want to dive into those differences a bit here with the panel, and kind of get general impressions on it, because this is a polarizing topic. Let's be very clear, whether you're talking about Web3 or Web2, this concept of play to earn is one that I think a lot of people, it rubs the wrong way. You hear it and immediately think, oh, this is a scam. So, Will, I want to ask you, based on your experience, when you hear play to earn, what comes to your mind?
Yeah. When I think play to earn, I instantly know that most gamers are just gonna be skeptical about it, and that it's not sustainable, like you said. Like I got into Web3 gaming because I've been playing games for free my whole life, wasting I've brought up so many times the example of FIFA. You play FIFA and you buy the game cards, like baseball cards, but you buy Messi, you buy Ronaldo, and you do that each and every year, and then it gets reset when they release the new FIFA, and you just wasted all that money. Well, you had fun during the time, but you don't get anything from it. And then my friend said, dude, you could own those assets if it's on a blockchain. I'm like, what? That means I would be able to make my money back. Not only lose money, make my money back, and maybe even earn some if I do well enough. So I'm way more in I like the concept of play and earn, and play and own way more than play to earn and play to own. And I think that's the way you're going to get the mass amount of gamers into Web3, because if it's like you mentioned, a lot of gamers would love to go full-time with their gaming, but I don't know. I truly don't feel that most gamers are that ambitious and that they see that as a legit opportunity, even with Web3, that they would go for that. So they're like, oh, play to earn, I'm sure. Yeah, quit my job, sure thing. No, I'm good just gaming my 2 hours during the evening, whatever it is, every other night. And that's fine with me. I just love gaming. And for me, that might be the case. And if I'm able to just own my assets, earn a little bit back, you see some dopamine hits because I've made money on this gun or whatever, that's fine with me. I think play and own, play and earn is a sustainable way to go, and I think it's the right approach to onboard more gamers, get them into the game, get them to have fun with it, and then introduce by the way, if you want to earn some with it, you could sell those assets that you've been grinding for. What do you think, TSG?
Yeah, so initial thought with play to earn, the first thing, like you say, is unsustainable. I forget what the direct quote is, but it's something like, if you can't see who the customer is, you are the customer. If you don't know where the yield is coming from, you are the yield. So it's the same thing, essentially in games, it's all right, if you're playing and earning, where is that money coming from? If you're just playing to earn, where is that money coming from? The company is not just the developers are not just giving out money. That's not what's happening. You're either they have an infinite token, which is what Axie did. And obviously we know demand and supply. Once the demand goes up and there's an infinite supply, it loses its value, right? It's just not going to work. So immediately just the whole idea of playing to earn, it crumbles immediately. The whole play to own, I've never actually heard play to own before. I want to hear what you guys, or Annie, you're probably more educated on it. I want to hear what you think about that. But I think for me personally, the way that I see it going is play and own. And I don't think okay, so let me try and break it down. There's a lot of thoughts, right? Because there's 4 things to talk about. So essentially, playing it and earning, as much as I think that that's a beautiful idea, again, it's just most people aren't going to be able to earn from playing. They're not just going to be able to, let me play a game and earn. They're going to need to do something else on top of it, be a content creator, build a fan base, sponsorship deals. You're not just going to be able to play a game and earn from that. I just don't see that happening. Or not anytime soon anyway. Maybe in the future there's some infrastructure, but as of now, I don't see that happening. And so play to own, again, I need a bit more clarification, but play and own, right? So I think the whole idea here is like you said, Will, you've spent, I don't even know how much in FIFA cards, the Ultimate Team. Yeah, too much, right? And it's what trips me out is, and I've mentioned this before, I don't know if it's on this podcast, but the way that us as gamers are being treated now by the current developers and studios is a scam. We are currently openly getting scammed in broad daylight. Like you said, you're paying 100%. So much for these cards, and next year they come out with a new one. It's done. They've just taken your money and gone. You've lost your product. It's gone. It's done. So it's that sucks. So instead of going from not owning anything, again, I don't know if it was you, Annie, that said this, but instead of going from not owning anything to, now let's earn from gaming, that's complete opposites. what about that step in between where it's like, all right, let me just play as if what I'm doing already, but now I own it. That's it. That's the only difference I want. And I'm not expecting to make money off it. I'm not expecting anything off it. I'm just expecting that, let's say, again, I've used this example for Borderlands before because I played that. That was the one game I really grinded for a weapon, like ever. But there was like a Halloween special where there was a gun called the Yellow Cake. And I grinded it so much. And I don't play that game anymore. But I know that there is still a fan base for Borderlands. So wouldn't it be cool for me to, once I'm done playing, not make money because I spend more time. I'm sure my time is worth more than the money I can get from it. But at least sell it to someone that still wants to play the game. And at least I get something back, whether it's 20% of my time, 50% of that time to money, like ratio, whatever that is. At least I get something back. And I'm not just left empty-handed. Yo, I just wasted 10 hours and now I have nothing. At least I'd rather waste 10 hours and get $100 back. I mean, it's not a great deal, but at least it's something, right? Like it's less of a scam. And so that's my take on it. So I think the whole play and own, like I'm playing the game for entertainment. I just want to own what I'm earning. And like I mentioned this in my previous interview with on Augment about like the interoperable IPs. Again, a lot of people are thinking way too far ahead about, yo, Ready Player One. Let's start with interoperable IPs instead of like, yo, Halo guns can be used in Call of Duty. Call of Duty guns can be used in Need for Speed. How is that even possible? So like, let's start basic. Let's say there's a Need for Speed in the UK. I build up a car. And instead of if they release a Need for Speed in Japan, I don't need to start from scratch again. I can use what I've already built into the other one, right? I think in the future, we're going to move into like free-to-play games. We've already seen the success with Fortnite. Sorry, guys, I'm going on like a long tangent, but I just want to like make sure I elaborate my thoughts here. It's like we've already seen that work. So I think in the future, like the royalties is how they're going to make, like studios going to make money. Let me move my car from the London Need for Speed, from UK Need for Speed to Germany Need for Speed to Japan, whatever it is. But when I sell that car, when I buy customizations from other players in the community, that's where they get the royalties. I think that's the step, right? So again, that's not a play to earn or play and earn or play to own. In that situation where I'm thinking that's a very play and own. It's like I'm not expecting to earn. I just want to own what I want and like be able to move it amongst the IP. And that's my thought, man. Yo, I don't know if you guys agree, disagree, if I went on a massive ramble, but Annie, give me your thoughts there, and then maybe educate me on the whole play to own thing as well. Maybe that's a better.
Can I give my thoughts real quick there?
Yeah, for sure.
Just right before, like that's NFT gaming for me. What you just said about the borderline, like grinding up to get the gun, and then like you said, like when you're done playing, like it doesn't even serve you any good now. Like you're fed up with it. But what if like that was an NFT and you could sell it to the next player who wants to play it, and the game developers earn a royalty. Like that's NFT gaming for me, because not only are you grinding up, but it makes you feel better about the grind as well. Like, yeah, I'm putting in 100 hours to get this gun, but we're like, when I'm done, I'm just gonna sell it and make my money back or whatever, you know. So
yeah,
I love
make
that.
something back, right? It's just like that's exactly. It. Just like you don't feel like you're wasting your time. Like right now, that's why I say it's a scam. Right now, it's like. It feels like we know time is the most valuable thing, and we're just giving it away. And not only are we giving it away, we're giving our time and money. That's the biggest scam of all, and we get nothing out of it, like entertainment. But like we're not kids anymore. Kids can live with entertainment. Us as adults, like we have bills to pay, we have things to do. It's like, man, we can't just commit our time like that. So not even like I say, like making money. At least give us something back, so it feels like we're not wasting our time. Make us feel like we're like at least somewhat productive. And we're like utilizing that time somewhat efficiently compared to like I said, if we feel like we're using our time 10% efficiently, it's way better than 0%.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not going to like change the whole thing, but it's just a tiny bit, which makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference. Like that, small sense of achievement makes you just want to grind even more and be ready to grind even more. Totally.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Annie.
Yeah. And I think the difference here for me is, if you expect the items to go up in terms of their value in the game or not, that's I think the fundamental difference. And in the model, you kind of see if you assume that an item is going to become more valuable over time, you're viewing it as an investment. right? An actual like dollar investment. So if you put money into a stock or equities of some kind, you're assuming that you buy something for $100 and you're hoping to sell it for 120 or 200 or whatever it is, right? You're viewing this as an investment, which is by definition always speculative, right? You never know if something's going to go up, no matter how much alpha you've got or or anything else. So when instead you change to viewing something as it's likely to go down over time, you view that you're purchasing an asset, and so you're buying it for the pure utility of using it, and you acknowledge implicitly that when you buy that thing, it's probably going to be worth less over time than when you paid for it, but you're okay with that because you got some value out of it in the meantime. And I think that's that distinction between an investment versus an asset is exactly what y'all are describing, that in this space, most of the time, we really need to be moving to talk about things like assets. And when I talk about, owning in-game assets, it's not owning in-game investments, right? If it's an in-game investment, it's probably not a game. It's probably a gamified layer on front of a DeFi protocol. That's how I describe the first version of Web3 gaming. Is we took these DeFi speculative financial protocols and we just stuck a little bit of a layer on the front end with some axes or whatever, and oh good, you can buy in and hope that it's going to go up in value later on, but there's no gameplay mechanics behind it at all. And so I think moving to this view of I'm acknowledging that this item I bought, this amazing gun, or this character that I have, this plot of land, 5 years from now is not going to be worth what I paid, because the game's going to have to launch a version 2, and that version 2 is going to have to be stronger than version 1. That expectation changes us from Web 3 to Web 2, because in Web 3, the expectation is if I got in early, I'm therefore going to make money because everyone coming after me is going to be having to pay more for the same value. From a gaming standpoint, that's not true. You expect some level of power creep, some level of inflation essentially in the economy, that later on that's not going to be worth quite as much as it was on the front end. So that shift from a Web 3 mindset to a Web 2 mindset has to take place before we see anything nearing mainstream adoption for Web 3 gaming.
Yeah, and that's what we see that a lot in like trading card games as well. It's like, all right, your first set is great, but then as soon as the next set comes out, cards from the first set get banned. Just because the meta's being like adjusted, or like you say, there's more powerful cards with better effects, which kind of devalue. It's like if you're going for rarity, like that could be a thing where the price goes up. But again, that's like you need the IP. That's where you're betting on the IP to really like hold its value and like expand like drastically. But yeah, man, and that's why that's the thing I really like about Illuvium. And none of this is financial advice always. But that's why I really like how Illuvium's done it, where the tokens that they have aren't actually like used in game. Like the ILV token is, if you want to invest in Illuvium, that's the way you go into the token, and then everything else in the game, don't look at them as like investments, like you say, they're assets in game, and that's it. So if you're paying for like characters in the game, which you can't do just yet, but in the future, like don't look at or Illuvitars, don't look at them as investments. They're just assets. If you want to invest and like you say, speculate on the studio, you look at the actual token. So I like that they've made that distinction. And I think I personally, and we'll have to see if it plays out like successfully or not. But that's how I'd kind of like to see it done in the future as well. Like that's just my personal opinion. I don't know if you guys like think that's fair or not, because I think a specific investment route for those people that want to do that makes sense. And the in-game assets is a separate thing. Once it starts to conflate, I don't even know what the word is, when they get mixed up together, I think things get like messy, and like you say, people aren't really able to differentiate and say like this. Yeah, I'm going to use that word, differentiate. What is the investment and what's the in-game asset? Yo, my vocab, guys, I apologize.
I agree.
I hope my ideas are still getting through, though. I hope my ideas are still getting through.
I like that. I like that, the way that they're doing it, because it also sets like strong boundaries between because bringing Web 2 and Web 3 gaming like together and mashing them and getting more Web 2 games on Web 3 and whatever, building more games on Web 3 will bring like this dynamic where it's like Web3 people who are invested into the game and have bags in the game that are just gonna shill the game and like, look at this, it's fucking amazing. And then you're gonna have the gamers who are like, it's not really that amazing. Like, hey, look at Counter-Strike, like better, you know? And it's gonna differentiate, like you say, where people can either be the investors into the game because they believe in it, and then you've also got the gamers who just want to freaking game, like play the game, and they're more into like, oh, look at this character, he's actually sick, I'm gonna buy that one. But they're not devoted to like the success of the token and stuff. They're just in it to play the game. I like differentiating those two because Web3 gaming will bring such a different, like two different types of people, which we haven't really seen in gaming before. And I think if you can separate those two, it's really key too.
100%.
Yeah.
And Annie, like I think like what we're talking about kind of transitions us into the next topic, right? I mean, like again, like having the investment side and then having the gamer side, and kind of understanding like the monetization and the pricing of like, because what we have in Web3 of like axes, what I don't even know, what I didn't get into axes, but axes at one point were like, for one axie were like what, three, I don't even know, 2,000 or 1,000
$2,000.
Yeah, for like one, and you need like three. Like no Web2 gamer is gonna say, oh, I need to play a game. People in Web2 are like bitching about $70 for full price games. There is no way they're gonna say the point of entry is $3,000. That's absurd. So what do you think about that, man? How do you think that game studios and like developers are gonna kind of go around this? How do you think we're gonna address this? Do you think they're gonna stand strong on saying, no, it's 2,000? Like, how do you see this all playing out?
Yeah. So I come back to that point about investments versus assets. So exactly to your example here, if you're asked to buy a game system and the entry price is $3,000, right? You're asked to buy a new computer rig, and that's all it can do is play one game, right? This isn't a console or something that you can use to play a variety of games. But if your entry point for one single game system is $3,000, you're not willing to do that unless you're planning on making money from the game. And so, again, that's a very clear sign that someone is not paying $3,000 to play a game, especially not a game that looks like it was built in the 1990s. You're definitely not going to do that. You're only doing that if you're assuming that you can make money from it. And again, let me be very clear. I don't have any problem with people making money. And also, if you want to engage in DeFi protocols that have a gamified layer on the front end, go for it. Like, and I had a good conversation with Brooks from the Nord team the other day, and he said, look, if you want to go do this, I don't want to steal anyone's side hustle. And you probably can make a lot of money in the short term. But when we were talking about what are you looking for in actual Web3 games, he said, this was very, very interesting. He said, go where it's going to make the most money. And so that's actually not what most people think, because you assume if I get in on the entry level of the Ponzi scheme, essentially, I'm going to be able to make the most money. But that's not true. You're going to make a lot more money if you're investing in games that actually build good gameplay. If you invested in, Activision and Blizzard as they were putting out World of Warcraft, you were going to make an awful lot more, more money than you were making, a few $1,000s selling axes on the back end for more than you paid. So
it's long-term versus short-term.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That long-term mindset is what from an investing perspective, people need to have. From a gaming perspective, though, you can't have those kind of price points. Frankly, that's more money than a fair number of people in the world make in a whole year, right? So in general, you can't be charging $3,000, $6,000, $10,000 as an entry point for a game. And likewise, whether it's a cosmetic, a skin or some kind like that, we need to have price points that are roughly equivalent to what Web2 has, because frankly, that's what people are willing to pay for the value they're getting out of in-game items when you're viewing them as assets, not as investments. And so we had some discussions, I think in the Illuvium community over the past couple of months around Illuvitars. And there was a lot of dialogue. Should it be kind of the Web3 pricing model or the Web2 pricing model? So, Will, I'm going to put this to you. If we asked you to go buy a skin, you've got a character, your ranger that's running around the overworld, and You want to have your profile picture that's always up there, staring right in the face in the corner of your screen. And when you go to the arena, that's what everyone sees as your avatar. How much are you willing to pay for this blinged out avatar that you absolutely love?
And you can customize it and make it your own so it represents you. That's a very good question, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna put myself in the spot as I'm the average gamer because I basically am. So if we're talking about a Web2 game, I'd pay maximum $20, I think, because I think back of when I played Fortnite as well, and like what I would like buy for the skins and stuff. And like I wouldn't pay much, because I honestly didn't care too much. But I'd say $20. If we're talking Web3, like the number goes up to 3 digits. But I was thinking about something else too. Like I was just looking up as well the highest sold price for an Axie, and it was 1.1 million. ETH was at 300 ETH at the time, which was 1.1 million according to the Google search. And I'm like, what the heck is that? Clearly that's not like someone who's a gamer. Like that's not gaming. That's someone who's like investing. Like it's just a flex. It's like you're buying a watch or something.
That's not even that's not investing. That's speculating. That's absolute speculation. That's not even close.
It's not gaming whatsoever. So Annie, when you bring this up, you're like the entry point is going to be too high if you're expecting people to pay $3,000 or pay even $300 for something in game. It's going to be way too high, especially if we go back to the topic we talked about last week, where we're talking about how huge mobile gaming is. And if you want to onboard mobile gaming, then we're talking like maximum $10 to buy something like as you get into the game. Like if it seems really interesting, you might put $10, and then you're gonna put $10 more, $50, maybe $100, but you've got to get that entry in and keep it low. $300, nah, fam, never happening.
Never. Yeah. What would you say, Annie? I was gonna say, what would you say? What would be an all right price for you for again? Let's talk about the Illuvitars and like a profile picture, right? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, from a cosmetic standpoint, so full disclosure, I'm probably willing to spend a little bit more than the average person, just because like the price point is all right for me in my personal situation. But no, I mean, I'm not rolling in cash over here, so I probably go up to 40, maybe $50 for like let's say a rare image of some kind. There's a super lit Ramfire that I love, or something that really kind of speaks to me. I'll go up that high. I'm not a big cosmetic person, right? So I would be more willing to pay, that kind of money for something that has like in-game utility, where there's a competitive advantage of some kind. So yeah, the cosmetic, not quite so much, but like I could see me going as high as that. If it's just like, hey, you get a random chance to get an Illuvitar and that's your profile picture. I'm going to spend $10 probably to be willing to do that. So that's a price point that I don't think anyone's going to balk at, whether you're Web2 or Web3. And I think that's the approach that we have to use. I'd put up a pretty long Twitter post arguing that, when there was still the discussion going on in Illuvium, that we should not be trying to appeal to only the Web3 natives in the space today. We need to be setting up these structures. And this is not just true for Illuvium. In any Web3 game, I do a lot of consulting with different projects, and I tell them, you need to be setting up your price points, your framework with Web2 gamers in mind. And that means you need to be going out and looking at Fortnite and Call of Duty and, racing games and others, collectible games, simulation games where, you're building houses. How much are you willing to pay for this painting to put in your virtual house, right? It's probably not $1 million. It's probably $5 or $10 or something on the top end. So you need to use that kind of a pricing model, and you're going to make money based on volume. Because if you have that type of approach and you have good gameplay, there's interesting loops and mechanics, then you have a chance of actually attracting Web2 gamers who are willing to play and pay money because they actually enjoy the product, not because they think they're going to sell the next Axie for $1 million, but because $5 is worth it to them to have that painting in their house, in their video game, because we enjoy virtual worlds, and we're willing to pay for things that give us some value.
100%. So for me personally, I would go as an entry point. I think $10 is a fair entry point. And if you go up to, like you say, like that, again, talking about Illuvitar specifically, like the Ramfire, this or that, like the rare one, I would personally be okay to go up to about $100. My range is slightly like wider, I'd say. So $10 entry point, like for the basics, just to get your foot in the door. And then for those guys that want to go a bit higher, $100, give or take. So I think for me personally, I think the $10 price point is very, very important. Like that $7 to $10 point is very important, because that's how much a booster pack costs. If you're looking at things like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon cards, booster packs, if I'm not mistaken, is $6.99. I'm pretty sure that's the price of them. So that's a price that us as consumers are willing to pay for this type of like product, right? Where we pay for it, it's randomized, it's like a lottery ticket. We don't know, we're going to get a few items in there. One thing's going to be rare, one thing's not. It might be rare, it might be not. We don't know, right? And so this is something that we've conditioned ourselves to be okay with. $6.99, $7, $8, $9. That price point is okay. And so regarding the Illuvitars, I'm really, really happy that they made this change to what they're doing now. Because previously, I won't even lie, when it was like, yo, they had separate traits, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. And like tier 5 was like 2.5 ETH or something like that. Like theoretically, that's what they were going to say. And that's like $2,000 or like $3,000. No, that's like $5,000 now. That's like $5K. And it's like, nah, fam. Like, and the thing is, that was like for one Illuvitar. You get one Illuvitar in there. And it's like, you want me to bet $5K on a possibility? That's ridiculous, fam. Whereas right now, it's what, 0.015. I think that's what it is. And I don't even know. The last time we checked, it was like $25, which to me, honestly,
75,
Yeah, and $25. And the thing is, right now with the new discs that they have, 25 and 75 for basic and ultra, right now you're getting 2 Illuvitars and 3 accessories, which again goes back to the whole point of the booster cards, the booster packs. It's like, oh, we're getting a pack of something now. I might be lucky with one of them, I might not be.
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, let's say I want to buy 10 packs. I pay $10, not $10. I pay for 10 packs. I get 20 Illuvitars. I did the math. 20 Illuvitars and 30 accessories for like $250. That seems like it's a fair trade. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, that seems fair. I have a whole heap of things. I can customize it the way I want. It just feels more reasonable to me. So for any in-game assets, I think, again, to onboard the Web2 players, that $5 to $10 is definitely the entry price. I think less than that just makes people feel like it's not the actual asset that they have is not valuable at all. Like if you're buying
no value.
I don't know what like a really bad Pokemon card is, but what's a Jigglypuff? I don't know what a bad Pokemon card would, or an energy card. Let's say an energy card.
Yeah, basic energy cards. Yeah.
A basic energy card, right? I don't know how much that would cost. Maybe like 50 cents or $1 or something like that.
Probably not even that much. Yeah,
probably
10
not even
cents.
that much. Yeah, right. So it's like if we start going underneath that $3 mark, it's like it's like whatever. But if we start at that $5 mark to $10 mark, it's like, all right, at least it's worth something. And then the rarer ones can go to like the $100, maybe $200 if it's like insanely rare.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm looking at it. And again, that price point is like like $200. Again, I might be wrong here, but like collector's editions of games and stuff, they can go for like 150 to 200. So again, like these are prices that us as consumers are conditioned to be okay with. Not everyone's going to pay 200, but they have collector's editions that do sell for that, and people are willing to pay for it. So it's not like we're not, like you say, stretching it, being like, oh, you like games? Cool, $1 million. Like, yo, what? What just happened? So we're not trying to do that. So that's my thought there.
I like that.
Ranges,
no, it's correct. And I think give the entry point like $5 or something like that. Get the packs. I love the idea of like getting packs, because and I'll go back to FIFA once again. Like Ultimate Team, what you would do is you would buy packs and you get the players, and you could have like buy the premium pack or the ultra rare premium pack, and you'd be like, oh, well, if I buy 10, I just need to get lucky with one, and I might get myself Ronaldinho or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But
do they still have Ronaldinho in the ultimate FIFA teams?
They've got, I don't know if they've got Ronaldinho, but they've got like legend cards or like icons,
crazy.
I suppose. So they do.
Well, they better have Ronaldinho. He's a gangster. He's a gangster.
I already said Messi and Ronaldo, so I wanted someone that people could relate to, maybe.
Nice.
So all the old folk. Yo, Ronaldinho, right?
Ronaldinho,
Pele.
Maradona, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So where was I going with that? I was going, yes, like
The packs,
$5
yeah.
entry point, but at the same time, like you said, there are still people who will be ready to pay that $200, $250. Like you've still got to have the opportunity for those people to buy that. Like some people go in a store and they don't buy a Honda, they buy a Lamborghini. Like that's just the audience. That's the money that they've got, and that's what gets them excited. If they just buy a $5 pack, like it's not going to get them anywhere. They're not going to play the game at all and not pay. And it's like casinos. If you look at the numbers, like they make like, I think it's like less than 5%. I want to say like 2% of their money from the regular tables, and then from the high rollers is where they make like 98% of all their money just from the high rollers. And there's some good stories to that, but it just goes to show, like, you've got to have that premium as well, because some are gonna be able to buy it, but you still have to have that 500 point to get like the masses into the door.
That's right.
That's the mass appeal, right?
Yeah, there's two reasons that people buy cosmetics in game, right? The first one is for themselves, right? They buy something that they like, that they want to look at. If you're going to be looking at your character or your car or your house or whatever for hours on end, you want it to be visually appealing to yourself. The second reason is for virtual flexes for other people. And when you think about TSG, when you think about what the reason is for that, they want to be a part of a community, and they want to be recognized as being a part of that community. It's the same reason that people buy any sort of designer product. It's the same reason that people buy membership cards. You're not really buying it for yourself. You're buying it for other people to be able to see it and recognize you as being a part of the community, and not just any part. It's a very specific part too. I'm a person that owns XYZ item, therefore that says something about me, but only to other people that that are in that community. Because others, if you go to someone who's never, I would say never seen Pokemon, that's probably a stretch, but let's say that, it's a smaller game IP, and you show them, an in-game avatar, a gun in Call of Duty, and they've never played the game. It looks interesting, but it means absolutely nothing. But if you show someone who's in that ecosystem a particular item that cost a lot of money, or you had to grind, and you had some real major accomplishments to earn that thing, they're going to look at it and understand and get it, and it automatically sends a signal that you're part of that community, and maybe operating at a very high level or spending a lot of money.
I think a perfect example of this is like ETH Lizards or like Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. Like I remember when I put my ETH Lizard, like when it was going crazy, because I put my ETH Lizard as my profile picture on my WeChat, right? And like all the people I worked with, like they aren't into NFTs. They're like, yo, what is this? Like, it's so stupid. But then like a couple of people that were into NFTs, especially when the ETH Lizard hype was on, they were like, yo, you have ETH Lizards? Yo, what's up? Like they know what's going, they know what time it is, right? Yeah. Like I had people be like, yo, you absolutely killed it. How many do you have? And other people like, yo, this looks stupid. And it's the same with like Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. I remember like my wife was showing me one of her friends that was into crypto. She's like, oh, this guy's into crypto too. And his profile picture was a Bored Ape. Soon as I saw that, I was like, yo, my guy killing it. And to my wife, it was like, yo, it's just a monkey. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, yo, my guy's killing it. And then I checked out his wallet, and he's like, yo, he's got 5 of these. And I was like, yo, nuts. So it's like, it's exactly that. It's just like, and it's not flexing. For me personally, it's not flexing to show, yo, how much money I have. Like in regards to when I pointed at myself for the flex, I think for me, the flex is like the brand that you're building. And especially as a content creator, it's like, I would love in the game, or as anyone in the game, if you're like a top player or just even like the funniest player, if you're a troll, if you can like cement your identity in a skin or a cosmetic and start to build a following around that, like it's just a cool thing to build that brand, because we live in a digital age now. We all need to have a brand of some kind, right? So whether that's actually like a presence online via YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is, or if it's just in game where no one knows your face, but they recognize your avatar, like they recognize your name, right? Like Troll69, like Gotcha Mom, like whatever. Like if you have something iconic like that, it builds a brand. So I think those are the flexes that I'm looking at, not necessarily like the financial flex. It's like for me personally as TSG, I want to have like a squiz with a hat and a pipe, like, and I want that because that represents me, not because it's like going to be worth a lot of money. And that's why, again, I said this before. That's why I'm really excited about the Illuvitars. I don't want people to just be like, oh, Kieran has this, I want to recreate this. It's like I want people to like, yo, show me your like creativity. Let me see. This is your chance right now. Batch 1. No one's gonna have this again. Like, get what you want. Design the brand that you want to build. Like, represent yourself. Like, I think it's gonna be super powerful if people play into that. And actually, I don't know if you guys want to add to that.
I think the two of you pretty much nailed it. Like, it's a status thing, like you said, Annie. Like, maybe you don't even buy it for yourself necessarily, but you buy it to maybe get in with a club with those kind of people because you want to feel like you belong there in that community, or you just wanted to flex. Like, yeah, I've got a Rolex watch, for example, and I want others to know that, like, yeah, I'm a man of status, like I'm a man of class, whatever, So I think you nailed it, Annie. And you too, TSG.
Thanks,
but
man.
Any little bit better there, but
yeah. Always. That's a given. That's a given. Always.
So I think let's take that into, how are the modes of operation for you as a gamer actually purchasing these items, and what's that going to look like in a Web3 virtual economy down the road? Because one of the initial concerns, I think, with the Illuvitars was the price of gas, as you have to pay money, obviously, to mint these items onto the blockchain. And Ethereum is not cheap. It's not as expensive as it was previously. The gas prices have come down. But if you have a really bad gas war going on that day, you're not going to pay $100 plus the actual price of the Illuvitar. The Illuvitar is only $20, right? But you have to spend $100 just processing the financial transaction to create it. That's a complete turnoff, right? There's no long-term future. And so
I think that's actually why the prices originally were so high. Because like you said, if the prices like of the product itself were $25 and the like you say the feeder for the transaction alone is $100, that makes no sense. So the only way to kind of like rationalize that in our mind is to have the product be $200 and then the fee be $100. Like, oh yeah, cool. So I think that was also a point. But sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're exactly right. And so you've got to look at the total cost of purchase to create the item or buy the item. And with that, we've seen a lot of progress made over the past couple of years, and especially the last, let's say, year, with layer 2s versus layer 1s. So for those that are listening that maybe aren't super familiar with blockchains, layer 1 blockchain is kind of the base layer of transactions. So Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana are examples of layer 1 blockchains. And you can think of it basically as the foundation. Layer 2s generally are going to aggregate or combine layer 1 transactions. So instead of you have to pay $100 to have one transaction on Ethereum, a layer 2, something like a Polygon or like an IMX, they're going to gather up a group of those transactions and bundle them, and they're going to process 100 or 1,000 transactions all at one time and write those to the blockchain. So instead of paying $100 for one transaction, you're paying $150 because it's maybe more complex to write 100 transactions. So now you've got a $1.50 price point. So essentially, layer 2s allow you to scale layer 1 transactions. And it's no different than any kind of new technology. If you were buying a car in the first early days in the 1900s when they were invented, you're going to have a much more complex time getting gasoline for your vehicle than you are today, when you can go to every corner, and we've seen the same thing with electric vehicles, where you get new charging stations that come up, and all of a sudden it becomes much more accessible. The price points over time are going to then move down. So we've seen a lot of value in scalability of layer 2s. And I think that's essential, because you can't be having these huge gas wars for people that just they want to sell their sword that they managed to get in their dungeon run. And by the way, I can't wait for gas to come down from $100 to $2. So you've got to have that scalability built in on the front end. And so one of the big partners that I think we've been looking at for a lot of these projects is IMX, and they had an interesting tweet out that just kind of, I think, talks about the rise of layer twos. So Robbie is, for those that aren't familiar, he's the CEO of IMX. I think, TSG, do you have this tweet that we can bring up for the audience here?
Is this the one? This isn't about... Oh, layer two is yeah, absolutely.
This is it. So and we've talked about the IMX guys before. They're really one of the pioneers in the space, bringing new projects into Web3 gaming. And Robbie shared that they've signed more games in the last 2 months than in the entire previous year. And just to give an example, last year they had 6 games that they had signed that were fully live and in the marketplace as of December, to where they've got over 50 today. So you want to talk about scalability and scaling. Projects like IMX, projects like Polygon are really going to be essential for this environment. So, I want to talk from a customer standpoint. What does that mean for you as a potential player? If you have, in the case of IMX, 0 transaction fees, they charge nothing for selling any items in game, and you basically pay a small fee. I think it's 1 or 2% or something on the front end when you buy an item from their auction house, if you will. So, TSG, well, what do y'all think?
I am super excited about this. Like, I believe that, so we do need to address, obviously, the merge and ETH 2.0 and whatnot, because that obviously will be, I won't say obviously, but the goal of that is to lower gas fees. Like Vitalik was saying that he wants to bring it down to like 0.02 cents or something like that, which is great. If they really can do that, that's great. But like you say, if I want to like give you a sword, I would still rather not pay any gas at all, so I think there's still always going to be a place for layer 2, especially in the gaming sector, right? I think that's going to be great. And I didn't actually think of this before, but when I was making my video, my previous video, it kind of just popped in my head while I was recording. But I'm so excited regarding Illuvitars being on layer 2, because it means that we're only going to need to pay gas for transition from bringing our funds from layer 1 to layer 2, and then everything is gasless. Which means not only does the minting gasless or purchasing and selling gasless, but actually what that means is, Annie, if we're friends, or we're all friends here. If you guys have something that I want, we should be able to trade with each other without any fees. Or like we could set the price at a very low price and say, yo, here it is for you. And like we'd be able to transition it with like trade it with each other for like either for free if trading is a real thing on IMX. I'm not sure if it is, either, or like a super low price, which is incredible. So I think that's really cool, right? So especially if like we're playing with friends, what if we don't want to sell our friend an item in the game? Like we've grinded it. I've got 2 of the same item. Yo, let me hook you up, right? I think layer 2s, and that's part of gaming, right? Gaming is like a communal experience. It's like playing games by yourself is only fun for so long. Like you either play online to play with friends, you stream online, so you're talking to people while you do it. It's a communal activity. So I think layer 2 in regards to like the player side, I think that's going to be super helpful in that specific aspect. But what do you think, Will?
Yes, exactly what you said. You brought up some amazing points there. And Annie, you freaking rock with the explanation. Like, well said. Well explained, all of it. Very, very simple. And yes, THG, like, it's no fun playing on your own. And just what I thought as we're all discussing this, and as we're talking about Ethereum, and as we're talking about games on the Ethereum blockchain, and like my experience with like trying to get into some games as well, and like maybe even like buying a pass to get in the game. Like I'll buy the thing for X amount, and then the gas fee, I'm like, whoa, hold on, this can't be right. Like it's more than what I'm paying for the thing. Like what's going on? Like I just want to play with this gun or whatever it might be. That's not how we're not getting more gamers on board if we're doing that. If it costs more for the gas fee, or like even like half the cost of the item is in gas fee as well. And if I want to play with friends, and like you say, maybe you kill a boss, you slay a dragon, and you get like you you're more leveled up and you're more progressed in the game, and I just started playing, but I need some help getting started, and you've got 2 of the same items, like, go ahead and trade that with me. I shouldn't have to buy that off you and pay for gas fees just as anything. Like, join a clan, create a clan, and you can trade freely, whatever it might be. We just need that ability to do that, and I love the way that Immutable XR is literally like leading the way when it comes to Web3 gaming right now. I'm seeing so many good things about what they're doing and the games that they're incorporating with as well, and working together with, allowing for gasless fees. It's freaking awesome, and I love what you said there. Like, playing together is the way to go, and we need to get rid of gas fees if we're going to make that happen.
100%. Annie, do you know if trading is a thing on IMX? I actually don't. So
yeah, I don't think that you can send between 2 wallets directly on the IMX platform today. But frankly, it should be pretty low gas if it's minted and held on the layer 2 anyhow. So I would imagine you're basically just sending the NFT on layer 2, and prices are going to should be lower, right? As long as the contract's decently written, not that hard to do. Now, to be fair, we've seen some projects that have implemented poorly written contracts, like Other Side during their land mints. And if you don't set up the contracts correctly, you may end up paying 20, 30, 40 bucks of gas for something even on a layer 2. But generally speaking, as long as you're using normal optimization processes, it should be very cheap and probably getting better over time, not worse. So I think another parallel here, people always talk about the gas prices and transaction fees, and they're like, oh, but if I go and pay money in World of Warcraft or in CSGO, there's no gas. But that's not true. It's obscured. What happens is when you put your credit card in, your credit card company is charging that game firm money for the transaction fee. They're charging a % in addition to whatever it is that you're paying. You just don't see it as the end customer. So all of those same types of transaction fees are still existing in traditional financial rails of the banking system. It's just been obscured from you. And so this is a point that I want to make, that there's always someone who's making sure that the money is getting where it needs to go, and they're going to take a cut. The goal is it should be small, and ideally it should be transparent as well, because then you know exactly where the money's going. Because what's happening is the game studios, they're having to raise the prices of whatever they're going to charge you, because whatever they get charged from, the companies that are, charging them to manage the payment processes. And certainly there's other aggregators that will do it for cheaper if it's in bulk. But generally speaking, no one's doing something like this for free. I do really admire, though, the companies that are leaning into these challenges, because when you hear people complain about a problem like the gas is too high here, and then you get a company that goes out and says, well, we'll just build a layer 2 and roll everything up, they don't see that problem as a problem. They see it as an opportunity, and they can step in and solve the vast majority of that problem for players. And if they take a small cut over time, that amount's likely to move towards zero, because others would have the ability to do the same. But it really makes everything better for everyone else, and it scales the technology.
100%, 100%.
So when we look at the overall, Web3 space, I tend to believe that we're going to live in a multi-chain world at the end, and it's not going to be only Ethereum or only. You couldn't make the argument at the moment for anyone else, but so let's say Solana or only layer 2s. I think you're going to have a mix of different chain type of approaches. I also think that it's probably not going to matter, and these sorts of discussions that we have about chain preferences right now, I know it consumes a lot of time in the Web3 communities, but I also think that 10 years from now, it's not really going to be much of a thing. I mean, if you think about when you play games or when you go online, do you know anything about the technology that's running in the back end of a video game?
The way I look at it, man, the way I personally look at it is like, again, like you say, we're kind of arguing over like small things right now. It's like, right now it might be a conversation, but in the future, it's like, if you're not feeling well, where do you go? You don't go to the police station, you go to the hospital, right? The hospital has its utility. If there's a crime, where do? You go to the police station that has the utility. once you like, if you need to buy food, where do you go? You go to the supermarket, you go to the mall, right? That's the utility. So I see the same thing here with layer ones, layer twos. It's like, all right, it's not going to be one thing that runs everything. It's going to be, like if IMX is the gaming place, go for it. Like that's the place that you want to go for gaming. If there's like a financial side of things where it's just finances, you're going to have another place, right? And I think that's just how it's going to go. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. That I don't think there's just going to be one thing where like everything is on. It might be Ethereum, but again, layer twos that do different things. It might be. I personally don't think so. As much as I love Ethereum, I think, like you say, there are going to be other things that come up and pop up and serve different purposes. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But that's my thought. I think the whole argument about one chain, I agree. Multi-chain, multi-layers. Everyone just kind of need to find their role, like a football team. Football team. Everyone has a role. You have a goalkeeper and a striker, right? Play your role. Yeah.
When you talk about football, I wanna get into the conversation as well. No, I agree with you guys. There's room for everybody. There's enough space for everybody to thrive. And like you said there as well, TSG, like you will probably see some be more specific in certain places. Like maybe Ethereum is better for these types of games, and then you've got Solana, which maybe that will be a different type of game. I agree with you guys. Some great conversations today, I think, and we didn't even cover everything like that we've got planned. In next week's episode, we will talk more about, I believe if you guys are up for it, I would love at least to talk about some of the Web2 companies that we've seen invest into Web3. That is, like, we're talking about the biggest companies investing into some of these Web3 companies, and I'm so excited to chat about it, see more about it. And we're going to bring it to you guys on Gaming on the Block. And like I said in the beginning as well, if you guys just want the highlights of every episode and smaller clips between 3 and 8 minutes, something like that, you just want the best parts from each episode, go ahead and check out the Gaming on the Block clips channel, link down below in the description. And down below, you will also find my channel and you will find TSG's channel. And make sure you subscribe there because this episode is up on Annie Knows channel, but we do rotate. So next episode will be on TSG's channel, if I'm not mistaken. So
I believe so. Yes.
That's it. Any last words, you guys? Thank you for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. TSG, Annie, take it away. Wrap it up.
Man, appreciate you guys for watching. I'm glad we've done one full rotation. And again, I've said it multiple times. I couldn't have asked to do this with anyone else. Honestly, appreciate both of you guys always bringing like the knowledge, the fire, entertainment. I'm really excited to watch this grow and just slowly, one step at a time, building blocks. Clips channel, daily clips. You guys know what to do. Annie.
Yeah, I would say make sure to follow, subscribe to the channels for all three of us on here. We'll have the links for everyone in the description as mentioned. And there's a lot of great content that I've seen from these guys and a lot of others in the space. So Web3 gaming is really early. I know you hear that a lot, especially if you're in any of the Discords, but we often don't think about what that means. Think about it in the sense of, for every one person that's in Web3 gaming today, you're going to have 1,000 within the next couple of years. So that scaling is going to be massive. So make sure you're spending time to learn from thought leaders in the space and others that are really fixing and solving some of the main problems, like the partners that we've mentioned on the cast today. So looking forward to seeing you all next week on Gaming on the Block. Have a good one.
Peace.
Have a good one, guys.